Hey everyone, Janice here. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a tutorial on do-it-yourself inserts, printing on half sheet and quarter sheet for traveler's notebooks sizes A5 and A6. And when I say A5, this would also work for Hobonichi Cousins and the Chic Sparrow extra wide. So to get started, what you'll need for today is Windows, Microsoft Word. That's what I'm using. You'll want some kind of content, and I would recommend doing some kind of test file. So for the purpose of today, I'm using a Microsoft template, and I just picked a checklist, but Microsoft has all sorts of templates available, calendars and those kinds of things. And since it's going to be for traveler's notebooks, I'm making the margins very narrow, so I'll walk you through that, and then I'll show you A5 and A6 in the same video. So this might be a little bit long. So let's get started. This is a tip sheet I did for you all, and let me just scroll down and hopefully not get this too out of focus. But if you want to screenshot this and then refer to it as we go through, that would be great. I don't know how to share files yet, so here's my little tip sheet for you all. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is get some content, and you can type something up if you just want to create a test file. You can make a table if you're a little bit more advanced, insert table. But for us today, we're going to play with the Microsoft template, and I decided to go with a checklist. So what you're going to do is go up to the top toolbar and click File, New, and you'll see a box opens. It says Search for Online Templates, and what you're just going to do in there is type in checklist. You can hit enter, or you can search by using the little hourglass. And what's going to come up is a whole bunch of options. And I'm going to pick this things to do list one. I like that one. And I double clicked on it. If you single clicked, you just have to hit create. But anyway, you're going to get a little checklist, and it's really cute, I thought. A good example for today. And if you just print from here on paper, you're going to get your 8.5 by 11 kind of thing, which is not what we want. You can certainly do that if you wanted to, but we're trying to get to a half letter size. So one thing I'm sure people do is they probably try to copy onto side by side, like put the image right like that. And you could do that, but the problem with that I found is the margins come out really funny. So here's an example of, I just put the images side by side, and when I went to fold in half to put in the notebook, I have a lot of room here, a lot of margin, but not so much here. You can see it kind of squishes up a little bit. So that's not what I'm recommending we do. So what I am recommending we do, so after you select your Microsoft template like we have here, the checklist, the next thing you're going to want to do is go up to the top toolbar here and select page layout and go to margins. And there's like a little arrow, it's a drop down, and you can pick narrow, which just gives you more real estate on the page and gives you a narrow margin for printing. Or you could print custom, which is what I've done here. I went to custom. If you go to custom margins, you'll see you can adjust the top margin to 0.2, bottom to 0.2, left. You can make it as narrow as you want. I'm just doing 0.2 for this purpose of today. And the orientation, you need it to be landscape for this. Okay. And you can see how that sort of made it a little bit bigger and broader for you. And the next thing that I did, I actually printed this two ways for you. You can leave it just like this, and for test purposes, you could just leave it. Or what I did was I took miscellaneous task off. Like you can customize the Microsoft template, highlight and delete. And basically all I'm trying to do is just get to one page. Go to File, Print, okay? And what you're going to do is under Pages, you're going to type 1,1, just 1,1. Make sure here, landscape orientation, and just to share the difference between landscape and portrait, let me just show you that. If you print landscape, it's going to be longwise, versus portrait looks kind of like that, it's up and down, okay? So we've got landscape, and then what we're going to do is go to page setup. That's a hyperlink, and we're here where it says multiple pages. You want to flip that from normal to 2 pages per sheet. Okay, that's the biggest tip of this whole video, 2 pages per sheet. Before I go off here, I do want to mention that there's something called mirror margins in bookfold, and if you're printing calendars or you're putting into a Filofax where you need some margin for for the rings, and you need it to be a little bit different than the front than the back, then mirror margins helps, but that's another video. I'm definitely not going to get into detail with that today, but if you've heard that before, that's where it is, under multiple pages. And then just click OK, and then hit print. And that's it. And then what will print for you is your half sheet for your A5 insert. And if you did it with the miscellaneous, it'll look like, and hopefully that'll show, it'll look like that. Okay, and I'll show you in the book at the very end. I just don't know how to change camera angles very fluidly, so I'm going to leave that for a minute. And then you've got if you took the miscellaneous off, you could have made the boxes a little bit bigger, and that's what it would look like. So it's just like that. Okay, and that's A5. Okay. Now for A6, it's going to be a little bit different and kind of, I guess, a little bit trickier. There is another step to A6. So going back to our image, what you want to do for A6 is, you've got this in Word and you want it to be an image. So you're going to go to your little Microsoft window and pick something called the Snipping Tool. Now, if the Snipping Tool doesn't pop up for you, like mine did, mine's actually right here. But if it didn't, you're going to go under Programs and then go under Windows Accessories and then just find it for yourself. It's called Snipping Tool. And if you open this up, it's so tiny the way I have it. Here, let me just kind of open it for you a little bit if I can. What this is, I'm going to put it to the side. I call it a lasso. If you click New, see how it kind of faded out the image and you have like a little cross now with your mouse? You want to like draw a box around your image. Okay, just draw the box, hold the mouse down. What I'm doing is holding the mouse down and just dragging across. And it looks like that, the Snipping Tool. Go to the top and hit Edit Copy. And at that point, you can put it in Word. Okay, you can now paste, which is just, the little button over here, paste, or Control V. And if you can see that, now you have an image of the checklist. A little different than what we did in A5, and you want 2 images back to back. Now, if you're having a hard time pasting 2, click this little box. It looks like a little rainbow, and it says Layout Options. Just click that, and you have to experiment sometimes, but generally, if you do like in front of text or, any one of these options will help you do the side-by-side paste, because sometimes that moves on you. But this is where you want to be. You want to have 2 images like that, just side-by-side. And now the same thing that we did with A5, same idea. You're going to go to the top, do File, Print. Okay. Now, this time, what we need is under Pages, you're going to do 1, 1, 1, 1. So you need 4 1 pages because you want to print 4 to 1 page. And it's all the first page. You're not even alternating. It's just the first page. You're going to print 4 times on 1 page. Portrait orientation. So we've changed now. Instead of landscape, we've got portrait. And if you go under page setup, again, multiple pages, put 2 pages per page. Okay, so portrait, 2 pages per page, click OK, and print. And when you print, what you're going to get is something that looks like this. Okay, and hopefully you can see that there's 4 on 1 page. If I fold it, like now we're going to cut, it's going to be a single cut across, And then you can see how when you put it in your traveler's notebook, you've got, let me do it this way, you've got the 4 pages, okay? So I'll get a book later and just show you what that looks like. But it's basically, you get 4 of that image per page, which is how you get to A6 size. So hopefully that made sense. I'm going to show you now what not to do. Maybe I should play with this a little bit. But can you see the ghosting going on here where you can see all the shadows? I like holding it up against the laptop. You can kind of see it better. My point with this is make sure you print on heavier copy paper than normal. And if you are using 24-pound, which is typical, just make sure it can accommodate printing on both sides without showing through like this. And if you don't have thick paper, you just have regular copy paper, but you want to try this, you could certainly, print on different papers and then, do double-side tape or paste 2 pieces of paper together and get the same effect. Especially if you're just playing, you could certainly do that. Okay, so here's what not to do. And I tried everything and I wanted to show you some more goof ups. So going back to our original checklist that we downloaded from Microsoft, if I go File and Print, open up our little print box again, notice down here it says 1 page per sheet and there's a little arrow. Well, if you drop that down, you're going to see something that says 2 pages per sheet. And at first blush, it might be like, oh, that's how you get to A5. Well, it really isn't, unfortunately. Let me see. This was 2 pages per sheet, okay? It printed on the left, but it didn't put on the right. And the same thing if I try 4 pages per sheet, thinking, oh, I'll get to like an A6 concept, and I print, it prints a quarter of what the whole paper looks like. So that's not going to work either. So the other thing I'll just point out, and this is helpful when you're printing like DIY fish or more complex print jobs, if you're still under the print page, Control P, open up your print box. If you go under this little settings where it says print all pages, if you go to the bottom, you see that you can print only odd pages or only print even pages. And when you're doing something like DIY fish in particular, or making those little booklets, you would print the odd pages first and send it through the printer, and then go back and do the even pages. And the idea is that when you put it in your book, it'll flow through better. And I don't have a good example. I already have my DIY fish all printed, but yeah, just make a note it's under settings, so that would help you. So anyway, I hope this tutorial helped you. I definitely had a couple of questions on that because I've been printing my own inserts, and I had some questions on the Facebook page about that. So I'll show you what it looks like in the traveler's notebooks. Okay, starting with the half sheet that we did, you can use A5, you can use Hobonichi Cousins, or what's interesting, and I didn't know this till I experimented, you can use, this is Chic Sparrow extra wide, and it fits really well. You might want to put a little notch, just to give a little cut, slit, or whatever, just to not rip the paper when you put it in. But the extra wide works as well, which is good to know. And the only other thing I'll show you is that for the A6, A6s I think are so easy and fun. This is what it looks like in the A6. So you can make a bunch of these. And you got your little to-do list. It's really cute. I didn't mention, which I probably should have, I have the ability to print on 2 pages automatically. It's called duplex printing with my printer. If you don't, you just have to print and then feed it back through however way your printer works. So I have an Epson, which means that I have to put the blank paper on the bottom of the tray, like facing down to the floor, and that's how it feeds through my printer, and to the back. So I don't know if that makes sense, but you want the blank side down for Epson for my particular brand, which is Epson Artesian. And everyone's printers are a little bit different, so you might have to experiment with that. All right, I hope that helped you today. Thank you for watching. Ciao for now.